Welcome to the 27 presented by The Critic, the world's first and only student-teacher podcast on the MCU, where today we continue our journey with Sam and Bucky as we talk about episodes 3 and 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier with two of our absolute favorite guests. From season 1, we have Scarlet and Rebecca. Welcome back. How are you?
Hello. Good, thank you. Hello.
I think if you go back and listen to that, I think your tone right there of hello, it's like that like just hit in my ear. I think it was like the same exact way you said it last time. You were on last year, and I'm not just being kind to our guests. You were really some of the best guests last year because really the Civil War episode was one of the best episodes of the whole season. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. But I also said last week, you need to watch it because it's on the Classic YouTube channel, and there are times where I disappear from the room. You two just lose. You're locked in on this argument. I believe it was Team Cap versus Team Tony. And yeah, it was intense. But you bring a lot of knowledge, a lot of enthusiasm, and clearly you're friends, which is a nice thing too. That helps us move along. So we're super excited to have you back. Civil War, and you did something else.
We did Black Widow.
And,
Black Widow.
The Spider-Man movie.
We did Far From Home.
Far From Home?
Far From Home.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Wow, you were on 3 last year. Yeah. Look at that. Very impressive. Well, like I said, thrilled to have you here. We are a school year removed. You were itty-bitty juniors last year, and now here we are as seniors. So I need to know, Scarlett, how is senior year going?
Honestly, junior year was easier. There was less stress, and I think the thing about senior year is like you're thinking about the future now, like college and stuff, so that's a bit worrisome, but I think I like my free band, so.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is a big thing with the senior schedule, right? You seem to have just some gaps in there to catch your breath, hang out, de-stress. Rebecca, how about you? Senior year?
It's, I agree with junior year being, I thought in the moment that junior year was very stressful, and then I got to senior year, and it was a lot more stressful. But, a little bit less stress-free because I got accepted into college. So.
Big news. Rebecca found out. Not yet, Scarlett. Rebecca found out you got into
Chicago.
University of Chicago. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So excellent. Amazing accomplishment. A lifetime of work to get you there. And we kind of talked about before we were recording, like, you're done.
Yes.
It's December, and you can just, catch your breath. You know what you're doing next year, so that's awesome. So very happy for you. Congratulations going forward. Great school, too, everything. That's really, really exciting stuff. Since we last met, a bunch of movies have come out. There was Multiverse of Madness. There was Love and Thunder, a few TV shows. We have more stuff coming out too. Is there anything either that you have seen since we last met, or that you are looking forward to? Rebecca, we'll start with you. Anything to share?
See, originally I had been meaning to watch. Had been meaning to watch Thor: Love and Thunder when it came out, and Multiverse of Madness when it came out, and then AP season hit, and I didn't watch anything.
Yes.
And then I never got to it. But
it's hard to circle back to things sometimes. Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch recently the new Black Panther, though. Like, I heard really good things about it. So, looking forward to watching that over break.
Out of those 3, Wakanda Forever is the best one. Definitely.
It's beautiful, yeah. On my side, I've half caught up, but Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder kind of disappointed me.
Seems like the general consensus.
I felt that it could have been done so much better, but it wasn't. The shows, however, I've catch up until I still have to watch Miss Marvel.
Oh, I missed a lot of the TV shows.
But that's the thing. So many things have come out.
That's why I think that put me off a little bit.
MCU burnout.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
It's like coming every single month, and then there's a movie coming out, and etc. It's like
it's a lot. I mean, because just without the TV shows, if you just follow the movies, it was May. I remember it was AP Day. Was Multiverse came out on in May. A Push Day. Cap. I mean, I think this could be foreshadowing of what we're about to do. To not Steve Rogers, not to Steve Rogers, but to John Walker. But that was out in May. Love and Thunder was out in July. Wakanda Forever November. Quantumania, Ant-Man's coming out in February.
Yes.
And Guardians is coming out in May.
Yeah.
So just the movies. That's not
That's
including
a
the like
lot.
however many
Yeah.
TV shows have come out. So it's definitely a lot. This came up when Mr. Sweeney came on because he's like somewhat of an expert on these things. He said, "Isn't it like too much?" And he's like, "No, you just have to like love it all." Like the fact that there is so much
Yeah.
coming from a time like when we were growing up where like these things didn't exist at all. So appreciate it while you have it. We're here to talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We did episodes 1 and 2 last week. I really liked episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
same.
They were good. We had a good discussion about it. Just before we even get to that, let's talk about Scarlet. You can tell us, Sam, Bucky, your thoughts on these two.
I mean, something that I like what the show does is like it gives more attention to these characters that we don't see in the movies, and like honestly, watching the show, I realized like how great of a character Sam is, and also Bucky. Like Bucky for all these movies, he's been getting tortured or like kidnapped or like whatever, but he's finally getting some characterization development. And for Sam, it's just knowing more about him as a person and as a character, which is really great. What I liked about the show that really talks about like the impact of I don't like the word the blip. I feel like it's too like nice or easy. I call it the snap because that's what it was.
It's
okay?
also been in debate.
They got
Snap
snapped
versus
away.
blip.
Yes, but I like to see how these characters are sort of trying to adjust to this new world, especially. I like seeing the conflict of the shield between Bucky and Sam and what it represents for both of them. Yeah,
I agree.
About everything.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
ditto
It
what
was
she
very
said.
well said.
I mean, Bucky seems to be, from doing all these episodes, one of the most beloved
Yeah.
characters. Everyone seems to love
Yes.
Bucky. And I think you're right about that. Like, you do kind of just see the Winter Soldier first and then the kind of tortured Bucky afterwards. But yeah, this does kind of build it out. I wish that Bucky had got to just stay in Wakanda.
Right,
You know,
that's
like,
what
that
I
seems
would
to be
have.
like...
like I would have. Wakanda looks like a dream. Okay,
Right.
like
He just was like out in nature and just kind of like living his life serenely. Now that might have changed in the Wakanda Forever world,
yeah.
but yeah, you know, he had that piece and even references in the first 1 or 2
Yeah.
episodes. Like I had these 2 years. Other than that, I've been like at war my entire life, basically. Well, there's someone else to talk about here, and this is where we're gonna start today. Because so I was talking with Irene, and when trying to plan out these episodes and what we're going to talk about, we've generally gone like, let's go through the movie, let's go through each episode. But as I'm looking through this, I keep realizing that John Walker ends up being like one of the big talking points. We had strong opinions last week. Not a fan if you go back and listen to last week's episode. But here we are, and he's like smack dab in the middle again. And okay, so let's take that exasperated sound you just made, Scarlet, and tell us.
yeah. So never liked him. Never will. From the first time I saw him, I was like, no. What else about it? I remember watching the episode again, like rewatching it with Rebecca yesterday. Like every time John Walker appeared on the screen, we're like, just like, here we go again.
Visibly was like,
We're like trying to skip forward. We didn't though, but like, I don't like John Walker. I think it's because away from his character a bit, I guess. But I feel like he sees the Shield or like Captain America as more as a soldier rather than who Captain America actually was. Which, well, let's start off for the first Captain America, which was Steve Rogers. I feel like Steve Rogers was more of a hero that acted on his heart, on protecting his friends, like Bucky and everyone else in Avengers and people. He wasn't really a soldier because he still listened to himself. Like, he followed his heart through and through, as we see in Civil War. That led to conflict. But he really cared about people, and I feel like he thought before he acted, unlike John Walker in this episode. And he didn't see, like, I mean, again, in Civil War, like, we saw how Steve dropped that shield after Tony was like, my father made that shield is belong to you. Steve doesn't really care about the shield. The shield only represented him as something that he could help use to protect his friends and the people that he cared about, his family. So for Steve, that shield really doesn't mean anything but a way to protect his other friends. But to John Walker, that shield symbolizes something that he has to sort of, like, how do I say this, but sort of become in a way. He has to fulfill this role that has like big empty shoes or whatever. But I feel like John Walker needs to change that perspective or not be Captain America at all 'Cause he shouldn't be.
Well, so it's like a couple things.
yeah.
One, throughout this episode, we see like he's very insecure. As well, like you can kind of get like we're talking about Captain America, the first Avengers, Steve Rogers, all this stuff, and it are big shoes to fill. And could you also like blame like did they need to call him Captain? Did they need to be like, you're the new Captain America, and like everything that goes along with that, you're going to put him in a bad position? And to your other point, like this is, you mentioned Civil War. I'm sure we talked about it. This is like Steve's flaw, right? That like he's too blinded by his friendship with Bucky to kind of like, that's kind of what drives everything, much, sometimes to the fault of some of the other things that happen. So yeah, he definitely has shoes to fill. And he doesn't do the best job filling them. Just even from the beginning, him and Lamar, who I also cannot take. Lamar, if you watch it, he always has a silly voice or like a raised face. He's always like, I don't know if we should be doing that. It is super cartoonish, which just kind of throws the whole thing out. But they're looking for Carly, and he asks. And I know it's not like a literal question, but the stupidest thing that someone who's dressed as Captain America can ask, do you know who I am? He gets so mad when the guy spits in his face. And like, I get what he's asking. I was like, yeah, he knows who you are. You're dressed like Captain America. But he's not very good. Like, he's not successful. Like, he blows this first of all, when in episode 2, when they're fighting on top of the trucks, and like, they kind of get beat up. Like, they're not successful with it. And then he kind of blows this gig, too, by trying to track down Carly. And he seems very, like, inadequate in the presence of super soldiers, which we'll see later on as well. But I don't know, we haven't get a chance to hear from you, Rebecca, about John.
Yeah, I feel like Scarlett said it very well, that like he's just every time I see him, I'm just like, I do not like this man. And I do get that, like, going into it, he had a very big role to fill, and that but I feel like it's because America like put Captain America on this huge pedestal, and that they found the need to fill that role with somebody else, that I think that he's trying, or quote unquote trying his best to be what he thinks that is. But like, it's so unsuccessful. And like, you were talking a little bit about like why he's like that, but his actual character itself is so bad. Like, he's so demeaning towards people, and like how do you call it when you're like
Entitled?
Not entitled, but like he treats people like their children. You know what I mean? Yeah, when there's the interaction with the Dora Milaje.
He's very like patronizing.
And he's like, let's put down the patronizing. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
He's like, let's put the pointy sticks down. Like,
yes.
Oh, I never wanted someone to get kicked. Yeah, beat up so bad.
And he most certainly did.
It's so gratifying. Like, watching Bucky just be like, looking good, John.
Yeah, that was great. They were just sitting there watching, because that is, again, the second time that he kind of realizes that, like, he's nothing up against, like, so now he's entered, like, he was successful as a soldier in the traditional military world, but, like, this is not that. This is the world of super soldiers. This is the world of Wakanda and was it Dora Milaje? Is that his?
Yeah, wait till he meets aliens.
So, like, he realizes he's nothing up against it, which I'm assuming he takes the serum. So now we're like, and they don't show him, but like, because then when he jumps out of the window towards the end, it's kind of like implied there.
100%.
But like, he sees that vial there. He asks Lamar, like, would you do it? And he's like, I absolutely would do it. Doesn't that make you just like a super version of yourself?
Which is also such a naive way of looking at it, especially because like there's a probability that you could die because of this serum.
Yeah.
Like, it could react terribly with you.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, even when they show it, and I forget, when they give it to Steve, he's in like some hyperbaric chamber. He's in like a lab, and then he's just gonna like
shoot it out. And then Carly was like, it felt like my veins were on fire. I hoped it would kill me. And then he just casually taking the serum.
Well, and in terms of like maybe a little bit of a hole, right? He does it, and then he's just like automatically and automatically fighting. Then he has basically what I could describe as his like world star moment when he gets caught by these people all on video, like really like, I mean, brutally killing a guy, killing a guy. And that scene where like, it's powerful, but it's pretty gnarly. Like all the blood, first of all, that's a lot of blood. That shield's not a small thing. And it is like, there's a lot of blood on that. And he just does this like in a town square in, I forget what European country they're in there, but They're in. Yeah,
It was somewhere in the Baltic Sea. But
yes.
Yeah.
And not good for the brand. If you're
No,
Captain America,
right.
like you are Captain America. You are like you're supposed to be like the good guy, and Steve was forever, and here he is. Doing
Murdering
this.
someone.
Murdering someone. Yeah, straight up murdering
It's
someone.
terrible too because the guy even says that he wasn't the one
one
to
that-
kill his friend, and he's like so blinded by his rage that he continues to kill him anyways.
And I wonder if it's like he finally has a chance to prove how tough he is, for lack of a better
Right,
word. After kind of
yeah.
getting embarrassed in these fights leading up to it, well, now he has this opportunity to like assert his dominance over this guy, and he most certainly does. And that's where the episode ends. That's where episode 3 ends.
Yes.
Not 4, but 3. We start with 3 with him again. So he's not very successful, and then he's still not successful because this is not who Captain America has been. Is this who? I know it's sometimes tough not to give up any spoilers or anything. Is this who this Captain America is? Are we going to see like not Captain America become a villain per se?
I think he could be categorized as an antagonist
Yeah,
from here on
100%.
out.
Been since day one. But something I wanted to say was about the shield and like the blood on the shield. So once this episode came out, I just saw like lots of social media reactions, and they were like talking about the symbolism of the blood on the cap and the shield. It sort of represents the blood on America. Like this, we like built America on the blood of Native Americans, indigenous, slaves, and etc., exploited workers, and so that sort of represents America, and that's why one of the reasons why Sam was so hesitant to taking the shield, because it's such like we see Isaiah Bradley and how that how they treated him being Captain America, and so Sam doesn't. I feel like he's hesitant on taking the shield because he's like it's different for Steve and especially John Walker, but for him, he's taking up like a really hurt legacy, and I don't think he believes in himself that he could like sort of represent that to other people, because he doesn't want to represent that image of America or what Captain America is.
Not only that, but like Steve was like the definition of the American dream, like
Yeah.
blonde, blue
Yeah.
eyes, and like
Came from nothing. And
and Sam, it's like such a different type of upbringing and like
Different
experience in
experience,
life.
Well, then it's does that like is the Steve Rogers Captain America it's the idealized America.
Yeah.
It's the one that like we hold ourselves up to, the Constitution, the Declaration, all these things.
Right.
But then is this one kind of like the actual America representing it's kind of like the ugly side, the downside. And that's interesting with the blood on the shield, the symbolism of that. Oof. Well, that's John Walker right there. I mean, really, I can't think of many characters in all these TV shows and movies now that I've disliked more than him. Maybe because I love Steve. I love Captain America.
Yeah.
But then like there's just something about the entitlement, he just seems like he's like a half-baked Captain America. I almost wish he looked nothing like Steve. That way he was just like a different, because he just looks like a lesser version, and then he acts like a lesser version.
There's not a single likable character trait about
nothing.
him.
No.
Like, not a single one.
And he also he blows this, Sam is pretty on the way of trying to get something done with Carly because he can't wait. He just can't wait because he knows best. He kicks in the door, and that kind of blows the whole thing up.
That really hurt me because you're talking to Avengers. Like, they fought Thanos. They fought aliens. They were in Civil War. Like, Sam and Bucky have so much experience alone that should trump whatever, John Walker has going over here.
Right.
He's John Walker, though. He's Captain America. He's the chosen one.
Like, also, the way that he talks to Bucky, he's like, oh, your partner's in there, and he's left without backup, and you're going to let him die without you?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, that's so messed up because Bucky has seen so many people die because of him.
Yeah.
And also, don't you think that Bucky would know if Sam would need backup?
He'd scream.
Yeah. First of all, you would be hearing some action in there. Second of all, I think it's also interesting to see how their communication has grown. And very much towards the end of episode 4, you can see that it's actually greatly improved to the point where they're fluid in a fight now.
Yes. And times when they even in the second episode with their little therapy session where they're kind of sitting with one another, and even it's the traditional buddy cop type thing, right? Where they kind of we have to work with each other, but we don't always get along. But there is progression within that. to change it to something else, I'm interested. I love this idea of all these episodes living in this universe where like the snap has happened and like the ramifications of this thing that you don't think about. So we have on one side the Global Repatriation Council. Essentially, they're like this humanitarian effort trying to get people back or displaced people, not refugees. They said that because they're not refugees from anything. And on the other side, we have the Flag Smashers, terrible name, who want to help the displaced people, essentially, right? Who's right? Is anyone right here? I mean, what do you think of the GRC? I mean, this seems like it would be, I don't know, if you live in a house for 5 years, and then all of a sudden, like, the old owner comes back and it's like, oh, no, but I've been living here. Like, they seem, I don't know. Where are we on this?
Let's work at getting you a new house. Like, let's work on making more resources for those who have come back, could have access, but also who have stayed, still have resources. And, like John Walker, I do not like Carly. And to a lesser extent than John Walker. But my thing is with Carly is, like she said, I see people as roadblocks. I see people as tools.
Yeah, she has that, and he catches her too. Yeah, she realizes it.
It's like, I understand you have a goal. You know, you have a great intention, but the way you're doing it does not justify the means. Like, if you want to bring attention, protest, you know, knock on some doors. But you don't need to attack people, kill people, kidnap people, because they also have families back at home.
Like, even, like, she was just stealing supplies, which even that is pretty tame in the grand scheme of things. Like, all of the people that she's with are, like, on board with that. But then once she blows up the building full of innocent people, that's where they're drawing the line and, like, reluctant to follow her cause.
Yeah, the guy who's with her is like, there were people in there.
And I get that, like, she's a kid and everything, and which is why I like Sam's approach, like, talking to her first. But, yeah, it doesn't justify her. And, like, not gonna lie, I kind of hate the little backstory they keep on giving her, because, like, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like her. I'm not gonna support her.
I couldn't, like, empathize with her as much as I could with other characters, just because she was so, like, hellbound on, like, getting her way no matter what she had to sacrifice
Very
to do
stubborn.
so.
Like, I feel like she doesn't have other I want to talk about Zemo, but, like, I feel like she doesn't have as much dimensions, I guess.
Okay, so that's a great point to talk about. I was just looking at my notes. So let's talk about Zemo. I mean, you talk about the dimensions of, like, yet another victim of the Avengers in many ways, you know, the destruction of Sokovia, everything that comes out of that. And just refresh my memory, because they refer it. He essentially triggers the Civil War, does he?
Because he blows up the UN building and then chop the guys.
Yes.
But you see, I forget. No, but he killed so many people just trying to get to that one point.
Yeah, that too.
And, like, I remember rewatching Civil War with Rebecca last year. Like, we were like, oh my God, Zemo did actually all this bad stuff. Because I feel like the show, they, like, humanize him so much or make him such a likable character that you forget all the atrocities he has committed.
In the beginning of Civil War, doesn't it literally show him, like, waterboarding?
Yes.
Like, someone for information. With
like, he is terrible. But he's also a very great, successful villain. Because he did split up the Avengers. He did what he wanted to do. And he continues to do his goals. And you're going to see.
I agree.
Which, all throughout this, he has these little moments where, like, when he's talking to the little girl, he's like, those two people can't be trusted over there. And, like, you think that might come to fruition, like, right away. But then, like, he still goes with them and they go to the funeral. And there was one other moment where, like, he seems to be, even killing, who does he shoot? The inventor of the Nagel. The inventor of the, where, like, while he's going along with this, he seems to also have, like, his own kind of MO that he's going after.
I actually really like Zemo's character. Like, he's a villain, but it's done in a way that, like, I actually like seeing him on the screen.
He's got some charm. You know, he's got some, that jacket with that fur collar, I mean, that'll draw your attention every single time. What I didn't love was the whole plan to break him out of the jail. It's like, just like, I don't know. It's just like watching him, like, and then that happened, and then that happened, and then there he is. He's out of jail. Which, like, look, at the end of the day, you're making a TV show where you have, like, 45 minutes, so we need to get to things quickly sometimes. But that was just something that kind of stuck out to me. Something else from this episode, I lost this episode at Madripoor. I thought, like, that whole thing was just, like, I don't know, between, like, first I thought Selby was the woman. I thought she was the power broker at first. But then she's killed. Then, like, Sharon's just there. Like, out of all the places in the world, and then she's just there. And then that party, that, like, corny party where the people are dancing, like, it was too much for me. I lost it there a little bit.
I treat the show as a comedy.
Yeah.
I was laughing at those scenes because I feel like it's very cartoonish. Like some of the characters, like we talk about Lamar.
Yeah.
He's very cartoonish, and I think other characters are like. I remember Sharon Carter. She had like her
Her
head
head up, but it's not covering
We
anything.
could clearly see
like-
her, and also Okay, but something that I like is that they're making Sharon Carter more than a love interest, because I felt that in Civil War she was a love interest, and like she was supposed to like resemble Peggy in that sense. But I kind of like how now she's sort of becoming sort of different to Peggy, like the opposite of Peggy Carter. I don't want to spoil anything.
I mean, she's got is she the power broker, or is she like she clearly comes out as a villain here, right? Where like you don't see it, but then like when she gets into the car and she's like, oh, we got an issue, or we actually have two, and so like there's clear, and that would kind of make sense. I mean, she would have the motivation to do so. She's lost her life in America. She's basically been exiled to Madripoor to live there, and she still has like that skill set. She's still like, you know, if you are a like SHIELD or CIA agent, you really can go one of either way. You know, it's just how you would like to use that skill set. But yeah, it was good to see her. I'm always proud when I see people and I know who they are after watching these movies. But yeah, I don't know, Madripoor, I kind of lost it in Madripoor. I feel like when I watched the first two episodes, coming off of the first show we watched was WandaVision, which were like 30-minute episodes, which are like bing, bang, boom, in and out, good. And then I saw these, I'm like, oh, 50 minutes, okay, it's a little bit longer. The first two, I didn't notice time. Like they flew, I don't know if it was the play between the two stories and everything. These two episodes, I felt like, we still going here? Still going? I lost it a little bit with these two episodes. I don't know, any the same?
I agree. I feel
John
like
Walker and Carly appearing
that
on the screen.
too. But like I felt like even this is my second time rewatching it. So
Oh, okay. So it's your third time watching it. Okay.
And like every time I feel like I realize a new part of the plot. Like when they're talking to Nagel and he mentions the like that all the testing he did, I hadn't processed that was Isaiah Bradley, because there was just so much information coming in and out that I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you must need those rewatches.
Yeah.
This is my second time watching the show.
Yeah.
It's interesting though the way you say like you consider like. Do you consider it a comedy or parts of it a comedy?
No,
Parts of it are comedy.
Parts of it.
Yeah.
Just because like there's like the critique of Love and Thunder, right? Is that like it's just too goofy.
Yeah.
Like it goes too far. So you don't want to be there, but then also like it's hard to be in the middle, to have serious, but then also have goofy, wacky stuff happening where you can kind of be like, well, it almost takes away from the serious nature of it. But at the same time, maybe you need a little bit of that
I think
comedy in it.
the first two episodes and the last two episodes do that better, personally. I think the fifth episode is a bit more dramatic, but I do enjoy the comedy, but I also like how they talk sort of about race and stuff like that, which are really good. And
Does Isaiah come back into it, loop back in?
I don't want to spoil anything. You're going to see. But what was I going to say? But I feel like some moments it's kind of goofy. Like the Madripoor thing, like was that really needed?
Right.
But but I really enjoyed the part where like also Sam and Bucky need to like they need to watch Zemo. Like Zemo is always disappearing.
They just trust him
doing
something.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary to trust to someone who's in a maximum security prison.
Right.
Or Sam, like I remember Rebecca and I were talking about this yesterday. But Sam is an Avenger, and he does not know how to mute his phone.
Right.
And then
why does he have his phone on in the middle of like a top secret mission?
Literally.
That's like Avengers 101
yeah.
training.
Literally.
You
And
gotta
then
be better.
when they first interact with Zemo in the parking lot, where Sam is just like, "Don't do anything unless we give you permission."
Yeah.
Like you think
Well,
he's
it's
gonna
a-
listen to you?
Guy's a villain, a super villain for God's sake. One throwaway thing that just bugged me was Carly calls Sam's sister.
Oh my god.
And is just
Oh
like,
my
you
God.
remind me of me. It's like, what? You've never met this? You've been talking to this person? They can't have any connection. There's just no way they have a connection. And they have like the most personal conversation two people could have without ever having to met one another. Just like, I don't know. Also threw me off. There were multiple things where ringtones happened. I was like, is that my phone?
I know,
Or somewhere it actually
literally
sounded
listening.
like a ringtone was going. But that's not the like this huge thing. But just like while you're watching it, you're like, I don't know.
Right. also bothered me that Carly was so much on this like humanitarian, oh, I'm not a supremacist, and then she has the audacity to threaten Sam's family after he's like tried to connect with her.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, he broke my trust. Ugh.
So just like that.
Also, to assume that he's working with John Walker also baffles me,
Yes.
because when have you ever really seen them like actually interact and be on friendly terms and like cooperate?
Yeah. Maybe just an assumption that, you know, because he's with Captain America. This is another thing that, like, with Lamar, it's like, oh, Sam and Captain America were friends and partners. So now, like, Lamar and the new Captain America are partners.
Yeah,
and it's like,
again, like, he's trying to copy this role. He's trying to be Steve Rogers, but you can't be Steve Rogers.
Right. No one can.
Rogers, yeah.
So there were parts of this that I liked. I didn't love these 2 episodes. And I was trying to figure out why. And I think this is what I came to. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
So like, so there's John and Lamar, right? There's that whole thing going on. They're the flag smashers. There's Sharon. There's Zemo. There's the global repatriation. Like, it's just like so many.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
And Wakanda, absolutely. Where like it's just too much. I don't know if maybe I think. If I had to just think of it off the top of my head, I think Sharon is the additional piece here that doesn't need to be in there. At least, well, I don't know, that reaction right there. That reaction right there. I think I might rue that statement
just,
next week.
It felt so random.
Yeah, she was just like placed in there so conveniently.
And Sam's like, Sam just trusts her immediately. It's like, you haven't seen
fully
me in
trusts her. He's like, so anyway, here's what we're doing. This is what we're doing next. And just go into that container and
it
go.
wasn't a little bit suspicious to you that he was like, hey, I know I already asked for a favor and I like ruined your life, but can you help me this? She's like, I think I have a satellite or 2.
Yeah.
You have a satellite?
You don't
to track people?
Yeah, I mean, it's Madripoor. It's a Wild West.
It's also that they went to so many locations in just like 2 episodes.
Right. Like I could not keep track of it. Like
that's why I think just like it's just too much. I feel like if it could down a little bit, because even looking at this, like just if it was just them against the Flag Smashers. That would be something. And then you could probably mix a couple of things in, but like some fat has to be trimmed here between, I mean, while we would want to trim John Walker, this is providing a lot. You know, this is like, you know, it provides a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff to talk about on a episode. But then just like, it brings out a lot, right? I think it connects back to Steve. It, you know, looks at, you know, just, it makes you appreciate Captain America or Steve a little bit. But yeah, that's what I identified as a problem with this. And I think you even said it, if you watch it a 3rd time, Rebecca, and like then you caught something in it a 3rd time, maybe there's just a lot going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you had to predict, will I change my opinion?
I
don't dislike the show, by the way, but I definitely I give 1 and 2 like an A. Okay. And I give 3 and 4 like a C. You know, like I think it dropped.
I think you're gonna like. Okay, well I love episode 5, especially like the first 10 minutes of episode 5. Amazing. Let's just say John Walker is gonna get what's coming to him. And yeah, I think the show gets better, but it's very. I just see so many genres in just one in this entire series. Like you see the good cop, bad cop.
Yep.
You see the comedy. You see the drama. You see the pain. But I feel like episode 5 is really like the hero. Like you know those sport movies that are about like the underdogs. And yeah, that's episode 5. Yeah. That's
okay.
I think your rating for 3 and 4 will stay the same, but I think you'll understand why it had to be like that in order to set up for 5 and 6. Because I think 6 personally is my favorite episode.
The last one?
Okay.
Yeah, I think the last one's my favorite episode.
I was so surprised when I saw that it was just 6.
That
Like
too,
that's a lot to fit into. You know, it's a lot. Even before, you know, talking about all these different parts, just even having 6 episodes, even at 50 minutes, it still seemed like a lot to squeeze in. But okay, well, I'm looking forward to 5 and 6. I think I'll appreciate it. All right, I think we did it. Did we miss anything? I mean, these are guests. This is why they're such good guests, because they have notes on notes on notes.
Oh, a small thing that had irked me was that when they were doing the mission in Madripoor, was that Madripoor? What they were doing the mission where they were undercover? Yeah. And these people didn't know that Bucky wasn't the Winter Soldier anymore.
Yeah.
Like they are very out of touch.
They would seem to have to know all the ins and outs of criminals and the underworld and the Avengers. Yeah, that is true.
But it just baffled my mind.
Just that scene too, that bar and everything, and he does the shot of like the snake guts or whatever it was.
And then
Smiling tiger.
Watching
God.
Bucky have to act like the Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
it broke me a little bit.
It's
my first
just
time
under the
watching.
surface. You don't have to peel back too many layers to
Yeah.
have that level. And I said last week, from watching the Winter Soldier when the movie the first time, he was like the most impressive fighter in terms of
Yeah.
my word, he's just destroying everyone. So yeah, that's right there with him.
I think in episodes 1 and 2, I think he was holding back because we see in this bar fight he was doing amazing, very aggressive, very amazing.
It was part of his therapy from the first couple episodes.
Right.
Don't hurt anyone. Maybe he's trying to live that.
Let's see. When Zemo stomped on the serum.
Oh yes, it was a little bit satisfying.
I would have done the same thing that Zemo did.
Yeah.
I would have also stopped the serum because why are they making more super soldiers? They're just creating more conflicts, you know. And I think Marvel's obsessed with that plot line of super serum. Because I see it again and again, in Black Widow, Civil War.
Yeah,
It's such an easy thing
It
to
is, yeah.
have because then you create heroes and villains and people. Yeah.
Yeah, even the Hulk was a product of Steve's super serum, but gone bad. And
yeah.
it's like Marvel, you got more comics, you know.
Just get a little bit more. That's like their break glass in case of emergency. Just give them super soldier serum. That'll keep it going. Well, like I said, I'm excited to see this. I enjoyed it. I like the characters, and yeah, I like the whole thing's been good so far. Rebound 5 and 6. I'll wait for a rebound with 5 and 6. Forgot to mention we have some new set design here.
Yes.
I stole all my son Owen's Happy Meal toys from over the summer. These are Love and Thunder. Behind you off camera, we do have Black Panther over there as well. So we'll add a couple,
So cute.
play around with our set design here. We also have his drawings. He drew
drew
those as well off of Art Hub. So that's good. The big thing, though, big announcement for the 27 is that 27 merch is coming out. So we will be posting. We're waiting. We put out an interest form. We tried to see if there was enough interest. We got enough interest. So we're going to be selling hooded sweatshirts and T-shirts with our logo, but it's black sweatshirt, T-shirt, and then instead of white on the logo, it's red.
Yeah.
So we will have that out. We are putting out an order form. So if anyone wants to order 27 merch, you can find that on we'll put up the link on our Instagram page at the 27THHS. And if you've ever been on the podcast, we'll email you directly because you are the VIPs. You are the people that help make it go. So that's the big announcement. I'm very excited. We're going to, I think, close the interest form this week, put the other one out, and you can start 2023 with your very own 27 merch.
That's our graduating class for college.
Look at that. Look at that. I always say that to students, just like that number, and then you hit it. You're like, oh, I'm class of 23, and that's it's not a thing forever. And then all of a sudden, you're gonna wake up and be like, oh my God, it's 2023.
Yeah.
Time goes so fast.
This
I was watching
is
this show
it.
2 years ago.
Right. Wait. Well, when did it come
No,
out?
because
When
you
did
watched
this
I
one
watched it
come
a
out?
little bit late, but I
Yeah.
think I watched it the same
It came
year.
out March 2021.
Right? And
Okay.
I watched it over the summer 2021.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. And just like that, it'll be 2023.
Oh.
Next stop, graduation. Very exciting. Well, thank you for coming on. Big thanks to Irene for producing, getting out there with the merch as well. She's been pushing all of our merch work. We've looked at all of these logos and sweatshirts until we're cross-eyed. I can't tell. Is the logo too big? Is it too small? But I think we're in a good spot with that. She does an excellent job with everything. Ryan for video editing. We're going to get our videos up onto the Classic YouTube channel, as well as they will soon be up on critic.thhhsclassic.com. You can get all our stuff for the Critic there, like Operation Tomato Meter and everything else. Next week, the finale of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're going to have Jay and Rachel joining us for that, and I'm excited to talk about that. I hope to have you back. Will we get you back at any time? Have we signed up for anything else?
I mean, what else is there?
Yeah.
That's what we're figuring. I mean, I think in the spring we have Hawkeye, we have Moon Knight, we have a bunch more coming out on the
opportunity for me to
Also,
watch
this
all
is
the
what
shows.
this is what you two should think about. We are trying to have standalone episodes where we kind of have broader discussions on topics. So, for example, our team Tony versus team Steve. Do an episode on that type of thing. So, if you can think of a topic or question that you think would be a good one for us to talk about, let us know and we can have you back on for that as well. But it was really great to have you back. Congratulations again on our big college news. And like we said, you're going to be graduating soon. It is just around the corner. So we'll look forward to that in the second semester as well. So thank you very much, Scarlet, Rebecca. We hope to see you next time. And thank you to everyone listening to the 27. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.